C-5 Galaxy is one of the largest aircraft in the world, and it is the largest aircraft in the U.S. Air Force inventory. When it was first fielded in 1968, the C-5 was the largest aircraft in the world, and it held that title until 1982 when the Soviets built the Antonov AN-124, which is basically just a slightly larger copy of the C-5 Galaxy. The C-5 still has the largest payload capacity of any aircraft. It can carry 36 pallets of cargo and 73 passengers simultaneously. But what it was really designed for was for carrying outsized cargo loads that other aircraft just can't carry. Some examples of the cargo that a C-5 can carry are it can carry 14 Humvees at once, 2 M1A1 Abrams tanks, or 7 Huey Cobra helicopters. To give you an idea of the size of the cargo compartment, you can fit 6 Greyhound buses in the cargo compartment at one time. Not a typical load that we would carry, but it does have that capacity. It gives you the idea of the sheer size of the cargo compartment. There are 2 other compartments in the aircraft other than the cargo compartment. Up above it, in the front, there is the flight deck, which is broken into 3 sections. You have the flight station, which is the forward part where 6 crew members can sit. Then there's the aft flight deck in the middle, which has seating for 7 more personnel. And then in the courier compartment, there's seating for 8 couriers or DVs as needed. In the back, behind the wing beam, on the upper deck, there is the troop compartment, which holds 73 passengers and seats for 2 loadmasters. Both upper deck compartments are fully air-conditioned and pressurized for comfort, as well as they both have galleys for food preparation and lavatories for use as needed. Some of the features of the C-5 are that the C-5 only needs a 6,000-foot runway to operate on for takeoffs and landings. It has 5 landing gear. It has 4 main gear with 6 tires on each, plus 1 nose landing gear with 4 tires, for a total of 28 tires for weight distribution on the ground. This gives the airplane a very large footprint, which allows us to operate the airplane on smaller airfields that other smaller airplanes can't even get into. One other unique feature of the C-5 is it has cargo compartment doors on the front and the aft of the airplane that open the full width and height of the cargo box to allow loading and unloading of cargo from both ends simultaneously. The airplane also has a kneeling feature, which just means that the airplane is able to lower itself down on the gear to bring the cargo compartment floor height down to the level of a truck bed to ease in loading and unloading of cargo, or ramps can be extended down to the ground to allow trucks to drive on and off the airplane directly. Right now I'd like to show you a scale model of the C-5 so I can better point out some of the features and dimensions of the aircraft. This here is the C-5. We're going to start with the tail of the airplane. As you can see, it has a T shape. It's called the T-tail, which has the horizontal stabilizer, is mounted to the top of the tail instead of at the base of the tail as you see on most standard aircraft. The wings, you can tell, are high mounted. They're mounted to the top of the fuselage, and they've got a 25 degree slope towards the back. On the bottom of the wings, you can see 4 engines. These are TF-39 engines. They produce 43,000 pounds of thrust per engine to operate the airplane. Within the wings, there are 12 fuel tanks that hold 332,000 pounds of fuel, or 51,150 gallons. This gives the airplane an unrefueled range of 6,000 miles, but with aerial refueling, the airplane is not restricted by range. Some of the dimensions of the airplane: from wingtip to wingtip, the aircraft is 222 feet 9 inches across. From nose to tail, the airplane is 247 feet 10 inches long. The tail itself sits 65 feet 4 inches off the ground, and the flight station is 35 feet off the ground. The cargo compartment dimensions as well are pretty impressive. The cargo compartment height is 13.5 feet high by 19 feet wide, and the length of the cargo compartment is 121 feet long. Now, to give you some perspective, the Wright brothers' first flight was 120 feet long. The first powered flight could have taken place within the confines of the C-5 cargo compartment. Currently, the C-5s are undergoing a re-engine and reliability enhancement program. What that means are the engines are being replaced with GE's CF6 commercial engine. These engines are going to produce 22% more thrust per engine, which provides 30% shorter takeoff rolls and a 58% increase in climb rate. What all those numbers mean is that the C-5 will be able to carry more cargo further at higher altitudes in shorter time periods. With these engine changes come a designation change on the airplane. As it gets the new engines, it's going to go from a C-5 Galaxy. It will then be called the C-5M Super Galaxy. There are currently 6 C-5Ms flying in the world today, with 5 more in conversion status right now. It is the Air Force's goal to have 52 C-5Ms by the end of 2016. This will give the aircraft a total fleet of 111 C-5s, 59 A models, and the 52 M models that I talked about. This will provide the country with the airlift capability it needs well into the future. Today, I talked about the dimensions, capabilities, and the future of the C-5 Galaxy. The C-5 has been the backbone of U.S. airlift for over 40 years, and it doesn't appear that it's going to relinquish that role anytime soon. The future of the C-5 Galaxy looks very bright as the C-5M comes online. Thank you.